Are you worried about this year from Dylan Cease? It's not what he did last year. His ERA is almost up 2 runs. So what are you feeling about Dylan Cease outing today and then going into the future? Are you worried about him?
I mean, listen, Steven asked the question before the game, like, should the Sox be concerned about him going in, or should the Sox be confident in him going into 2024? And my answer was, well, less confident than they were in him going into 2023, right? Because last year he was just phenomenal. This year he has not been phenomenal. And, he's a guy who harps on, execution. It hasn't always been there. Usually it's in the form of walks. Yep. But as I was saying to Steven, like, he led the league in walks last year, and he had a tremendous year. This year has not been the case. Today, though, not the case that walks are what bit him. It was hits. Mm-hmm. This is a guy, though, who has not been able to be shut down like he was last year. And today, that's the story, right? Too many pitches. He's up over 100 pitches. He can't even complete the 5th inning. It's been a consistent problem where he's not going as deep into games as he was last year. 7, how many times did he throw 8 innings last year? A number of them.
Yeah.
And to not be able to have that kind of longevity this year has the ripple effect throughout the team. I'm not saying that, like, he's not capable of being the same guy. I'm not saying he's not capable of being just a good pitcher. He's no doubt the number one guy on this staff unless they make a surprise move going into 2024. But as we keep talking about the big question marks with Michael Kopech, and certainly the results have been a lot more glaring with Michael Kopech, there have to be some question marks about Dylan Cease too, right? Because what is it always? The first time you have a truly breakout season, like, the questions until you get to that are, can he do it? Can he do it? Can he do it? Mm-hmm. Then you have it. And the questions don't become, it's not like the questions all go away. The questions become, okay, can he do it again?
Yep.
Can he do it again? Can he do it the year after that? And Dylan Cease did not do it again this year. Again, he can. He can do it again next year, but will he? That's to Steven's question that he was asking before the game. There have to be some question marks of, can Dylan Cease get back to being that top 2 Cy Young finisher kind of guy? Because as we keep talking about, starting rotation has a lot of holes to fill. Starting rotation has a lot of questions to answer. The White Sox would be much better off if Dylan Cease was not one of them. Of course, he's going to have some questions about him going into next year, as I just explained, but they need him to finish as strongly as possible so they can bank on something with this rotation going into next season.
I think, yeah, and with the question that Steven posed, in another season when the White Sox had pretty much their starting rotation filled out and everybody's going to be coming back, and so they feel good about where they're going, I would say, yeah, maybe see if you can see somebody else for Dylan Cease. You can have a change of scenery, as Matthew Lucas puts. But with the White Sox dirt to starting pitchers, he's going to be on next year's team, and you just hope that he finds the magic. He doesn't need to be a 2.20 ERA guy like he was last year. That's absurd. That's how good that season was last year. Now, a 4.50 pitcher is not him. That's definitely not him because he has too good of a stuff to get hit as hard as he did. And the stuff is good. It was 97, 98 on the radar gun for the fastball, and the slider looked like it was doing its thing. But the Rockies were just sitting on that fastball middle, and crushing it. Chuck Nasty with the home run, Chuck Nasty with the triple he had off of Dylan Cease too. And I would see that, Dylan Cease on a regular year would have thoughts and questions that if he's going to be on the team next year. But for next year, he is the White Sox ace, which is kind of sad because he's fallen off the table so much. If a pitcher has fallen off the table this much on a regular team, he'll be relegated to second, third status. He's our ace next year. They got to take Dylan Cease as the number one guy because I don't see the White Sox at the top of the market going for people like, even though Marcus Stroman's not that good anymore, but people like him. Marcus Stroman.
He might be on the Cubs next year after this injury, yeah.
Let me pose it to you this way then. What's more likely to occur, a season like this for Dylan Cease or a season like the last one for Dylan Cease?
It's a good question. And again, not everything is always, a one-way ticket to the top, right? Sometimes you go like this, and then you're back up to where you envision yourself being. Certainly, the White Sox, though, were expecting the 2022 version of Dylan Cease to be the guy, right? They were expecting, hey, we knew all along he could be that guy, and we're excited for him going forward. They've got the control on him. hey, he finally achieved his potential kind of thing. To take that step back that he's taken this year, it's not like, again, it's not like frightening for his career. Oh, he'll never reach those heights again. He very well could.
Oh, easily.
But it's just the way that they're set up. They need some certainties in the pitching on the pitching staff. They've got basically none of it right now, and that is a big problem. They're going to need to either go out and pay with dollars or trade pieces, right, for some certainty in that rotation, because Kopech's giving you none of it. And while Cease is posting, you know what I mean? Yep. He's not. It doesn't seem to be a stamina issue or anything like that. Any physical issues. To be a guy that was a lock for going 7 innings a game, to be a guy that's a lock for going 5 innings a game, and he didn't even reach that today. Man, they've got a lot of questions to answer on the pitching front.